Dan kita akan teruskan dengan perkembangan awani internasional. Alright, in 2025, the challenges facing leaders from aging populations to digital disruptions are too complex for old ways of thinking. Design thinking flips the script. It's not about writing policies or strategies in a vacuum. It's about deeply understanding people's needs and co-creating solutions that actually work. Change makers use it to reimagine impact, policymakers to design policies citizens will embrace, and decision makers to cut it through complexity and act fast. Leaders who don't apply the race-building system, people won't use, but those who do unlock real innovation and trust. And for that, I welcome you, our guest that's ready on the line to discuss this is Ahmad Azwar Zainuddin, the CEO, Satu Creative. I want to say thank you very much, Anwar, for joining me. Firstly, we often hear the term design thinking, but what does it actually mean, and why should leaders care about it, especially in 2025?
Good morning, Nina. Good morning, audience of Niaga Awani. Too often, leaders jump straight to solutions and end up solving the wrong problem. Of course, in these fast-changing times, old playbooks don't give us the answer anymore, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence, climate crisis, rising cost of living. So with design thinking, it asks us to take a pause and ask, what do people really need? This helps us to test quickly rather than making assumptions, and we adapt faster and stay relevant. So design thinking is important today because it's not just thinking outside of the box, it's making sure that we are at the right box.
And making sure we are in the right box, why do you believe design thinking is not just for designers or tech companies, but also for policymakers and decision makers in government and also business?
Yeah, that is a very common misconception. People think that design thinking is only for apps and products. This keeps away a very powerful tool locked in silos. But in reality, it's for anyone making decisions that affects people. Design thinking, in a nutshell, is a human-centered approach to solving problems. Regardless whether you're ministers, CEOs of teachers, design thinking is very relevant for you. It puts people at the center, and any sector for that matter can innovate with design thinking. If your work touches people, then design thinking is for you.
All right, that is to help us understand the most common misconception. And for change makers working on social impact, how can design thinking help them scale their ideas or reach the communities they want to serve or unserve? What's your thought on that?
Many social projects by change maker fails because they are designed for communities and not with them. Okay. A solution often reflects donor or change makers' priorities, but not really the community realities. With design thinking, change makers sits side by side with the people they are looking to serve. Together, they co-create solution that last and scale. Good intention don't always lead to good impact, but co-creation definitely does.
All right, you share with us most of the solution that was created, it's a design for them, it's not designed with them. So can you share some of the successful example where design thinking has made a real difference in solving pressing social and environmental changes that focus on the aspect of design the solutions with the community?
All right, let's look at one example. In Malaysia, refugees often struggle to earn dignified living. Traditional aid models treat them more as beneficiaries. This means lots of charity, very little empowerment. So if we look at one case example, Picture Eats, one of the, I guess, renowned social enterprise in Malaysia, use a human-centered approach and flip the script. So they co-create by co-creating a food business with the refugees and family. So if we look at this, it's about empowerment, tapping hidden talent, and connecting them to customers. It's not about giving handouts, it's about unlocking the talent that exists. So that takes a lot of empathy, a lot of listening, and I think kudos to Picture Eats for successfully rolling out their initiative.
All right, there's also policy can often feel disconnected from people's everyday lives. We want to ensure that design thinking help policies makers create policies that truly resonates with citizens. But in order for us to achieve or seize any of the challenges, what are some of the gaps that we need to address first and fast?
You hit the nail on the spot there. Policies often can feel very distant, written in languages that people don't really live by. This creates a lot of frustration, a lot of distrust. So with design thinking, policymakers can get closer to everyday realities. Policies start to feel like they were written for people, with people, not for people. Policy becomes powerful when it speaks the language of the people. And with this, design thinking can help policymakers, change makers, leaders to really start by listening, start by empathizing, start by getting close to the people that they are serving.
And in the corporate world, decision makers are under pressure to innovate fast. How does design thinking give them a competitive edge?
All right. Many corporations spend a lot in building products that nobody wants. This is in the startup phrase, we call it a product looking for customer rather than a customer looking for product. So long planning cycles often make organizations very slow to market. With design thinking, with the experimental approach, you test early and fail small. This saves money, speed up learning, and make launches more likely to be successful, ultimately de-risking. It's better to fail on paper or fail in small experiment than fail in the market.
And do you see that design thinking as a tool for crisis management or more for a long-term transformation, or both? If both, how can we balance it?
I think it works both ways. Whether you're launching a product, managing industries or corporations, or whether you're facing a crisis, often we panic and guess. So design thinking take a more evidence-based, more, I guess, close to the issue at hand, and this gives us a tool that we can use urgently, test urgently, and ultimately, if applied consistently and across the organization, this builds a culture where organizations are more innovative, resilient. So that makes it both a fire extinguisher and as well as a compass, Nina.
And what's your advice to leaders who want to start embedding design thinking into their work today? The do's and don'ts, what are the right preparations, where and how do we start?
All right. So a lot of time, leaders tend to think that they need big budgets or they need to work with consultants. I think this normally stops them on the track before they even begin. So my advice is you can start small, talk to your users, generate ideas, lots and lots of them, and test it quickly. Right? Once people see the result, the approach spreads naturally, design thinking. Don't wait for the perfect plan, start with a conversation.
All right, before I go to my last questions, your hopes and wish list, maybe you can share with them what are some of the examples that we can adapt from other countries or other countries that have more resources, financial, more platform to do this?
Actually, looking at a lot of countries, the design thinking is quite a proven model. So it's not new in Malaysia, but I think the application can be more democratized. I think a lot of times you see this being applied in corporates, or tech. It needs to be more spread out. And I think that's what we try to do at Satu Creative. We work with change makers. We will go into like all part of Malaysia to give this very powerful tool and allow people to have something that they can use in order for them to tackle problem that really solves a need rather than creating something and failing because they're just not meeting the market or the beneficiary demand. Yeah.
And if there's one takeaway, Anwar, you want our viewers to remember, what is it?
We often assume that the smartest people in the room has the answer, and this often leads to a top-down approach, and that misses the mark, right? Design thinking reminds us that the smartest people are the people, right? So leaders succeed when they listen first and then design. The best solution, don't start with an idea, it starts with the people.
All right, I like that last sentence. Don't start with the ideas, start with the people, because the people is the best way for us to start innovate. And again, I would say thank you very much to Ahmad Azwar Zainuddin for helping us understand what are the beyond strategy and how design thinking can transform decision into an impact, not short-term but also long-term transformation. Again, I would say thank you very much to the CEO of Satu Creative, and definitely all of our discussion here will be featured in astronomy.com and across all social media platforms.